Hi, my name is Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstars. So as you guys know, this is where we interview people that are just crushing it in this business, and we show you the inside scoop as to how multifamily investors are creating massive success, not just in their businesses, but also in their lives. And of course, I've got Mark Nagy, who's the director of our Massive Action team for our Warriors, on as well. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Rod. Happy to be here. Excited for another one.
That's right. That's right. Well, we've got a kick butt interview today with an incredible dynamic entrepreneur. Her name's Shannon Aronson, and Shannon actually owns, I don't know if it's one or two Keller Williams franchises, and just making amazing things happen. So you know what? I'm going to not even try to talk about her bio. I'm going to let her tell you. Shannon, welcome to the show here.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be with you, Rod. Yeah, I've been in
thanks.
residential real estate sales for about 18, 20 years. I partner with some teammates. We own 3 Keller Williams brokerages with about 800 realtors working for us.
Wow.
So it's great because it gives me really just a lot of exposure to top people in the industry, which helps open some doors.
Oh, it sure does. That's an incredible. Those are incredible connections to make things happen. Certainly in our space as well. I forgot where you're located.
In New Jersey, up north central New Jersey, just about 15 miles outside of New York City. So
very nice.
Easy
Very
access
nice.
in and out.
Well, you know, I don't know if I ever told you this offline. I actually interviewed Jay Papasan on my podcast. He co-wrote The One Thing with Gary.
Jay and I are actually, and his wife, Wendy, I'm going to show you, are actually, we know each other very well. I'm sitting next to his book as we speak.
By the way, she's holding up The One Thing. Guys, if you haven't read The One Thing, I'd highly encourage you to do it. It's a phenomenal book. But, why don't you take a few minutes and just talk a little bit about your journey, Shannon? You've done some extraordinary things, and I'd love to hear you. Maybe bring us current.
I will do that. In my old days, I used to be a psychotherapist. So the whole mental space has been very interesting for me. And one of the things that attracted me to you and your group is that solid work on mindset. I just think it's so important, as I know you do.
Well, I have to interrupt you for a second. I got to tell you that previous occupation to kick-ass entrepreneur, just my brain can't even compute that, because it's such a complete shift in profile. I mean, when you take a creative, deep thinking, psychoanalyst and turn him into an entrepreneur, I've never seen it, honestly. So I had no idea. That's fascinating.
Well, so I'm going to shortcut a little bit about what you just asked me and tell you that I think it's actually been the secret to a lot of my success, because, Rod, even in helping, I'm so passionate about helping people diversify their wealth. So many people have it tied up only in the stock market or the stock market in cash. Helping people diversify that into multifamily or whatever real estate investing space is important to them. That psychotherapy training helps me understand what people's goals are, helps me understand what their motivations are, helps me understand what kind of legacy they want to create. And if investing in real estate in some way fits in with their life goals, well, then I feel really blessed to be able to help them get there. And that training from psychotherapy really helps me do that.
Well, it helps you communicate once you know what a person's pain points are. Investors, for example, once you know what their pain points are. In fact, we just did a survey of our investors and asked them, what keeps you up at night? Because those are the sorts of things you want to address in your communication and in your marketing. And so now, when did you? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Please continue with your story.
So from psychotherapy to being a real estate investor, I started out like many people after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I think I bought my first investment property within a couple of weeks. I was buying, holding, buying, flipping, and then it was a natural progression into also selling real estate. Built a nice sized team and decided about 3-4 years ago to sell that team. And now I co-own and run the brokerages because I've really been adding a big focus in my world, as you know, into multifamily investing. About the last 5 years, I've gotten into that in a big way, and I'm just having a ball.
Yeah. So why the Warrior program? I mean, you're
Well,
not unexperienced. You well, maybe in multifamily, but or inexperienced, but you certainly have.
I'd already been doing multifamily, and I may have mentioned this to you, but someone suggested me I should just work the roster and go around to all the multifamily programs. Don't join any of them, just go and network. So I showed up. Where were we? We were in Colorado. It was Denver, a year ago, July.
Denver boot camp. Yeah, that was a big one.
I showed up with no intention. I wasn't joining your program, Rod. I didn't think I needed your program. And with my husband actually came with me to this event. And within sitting there for a couple hours, I knew that I kind of found my people. I really like to surround myself, as do, I know you do the same. I want to surround myself with people who have integrity, with people who have values, with people who are interested in helping other people build their legacy. And so when I was sitting there doing nothing but networking, thinking I'd take home a beefier Rolodex, I said, nope, got my foot caught in the door here. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I know. I think I read that since you've joined. Well, tell us what you've done since you've joined, because you've really made some things happen.
No one succeeds alone, right? So the network and the ecosystem that I've stepped into here has been absolutely magical. So I joined in July. I think I started coaching probably August, early September. By October, I was getting involved as a co-GP on a deal.
79 units is what it says here on your bio, right?
Yep, with some other warriors. And they're warriors that I honestly, a couple of them, I just can't imagine that we're not going to be lifelong friends. I just love their integrity. I love the way they do business. I love the fact that every conversation I ever have with them talks about making sure we're protecting our investors' investment. I couldn't be in business with somebody where that wasn't really the primary motivator. And so, so we got that 79 unit off the ground. I joined in July. I think that closed end of October.
Right.
And then subsequently, we now are closing over the next couple of weeks, also with a lot of people in the Warrior program, a 51 unit and then 162 units in Savannah, Georgia.
I love Savannah, Georgia. Wow. Well, that's incredible. I mean, you've really taken off, and it's just, and I know, obviously, the people that you're partnered with, and they're a couple of my favorite people as well. So really, really love to see you in that particular group, because, I mean, you guys are unstoppable.
Good.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, can you give the listeners some secrets? I mean, that's almost 300 doors in 8 months, a little less than 8 months. How have you been able to do that? What are some secrets here?
I think the first secret is that no one succeeds alone. I mean, maybe some people do, but we all have very different talents. And I don't particularly love looking for deals. I'm very happy to analyze them and say no, but yeah, that one looks good. So some other people on the team really are hunters, and they're out hunting for deals. And then what I really love to do, because I have a lot of knowledge and I've been selling real estate for a long time, I've been into thousands of inspections and things. I have pretty good instincts once I identify something, really analyzing the comps to make sure that I feel the numbers in the pro forma make sense. And then I really have a special passion and skill for helping, as I said, helping people who are investors make some really smart decisions about how to diversify their world into real estate in a way that doesn't cause them to have to deal with frozen pipes and toilets. And so, I mean, I feel really happy that I've helped people invest $5 million in the last 5 months.
Yeah, that's what you told me you'd raised for these deals, You'd raised
Wow.
$5 million, which is fantastic for someone that's never done it before. So that's really impressive. You've only been exposed to my ecosystem for what? Not even a year yet, or has it been? No, not even a year
Not
yet. And you've taken absolutely massive freaking action to make things happen. You've raised a bunch of money. You're about to be upwards of 300 doors here shortly. You've made some incredible connections. We have a lot of listeners on the show that listen on the sidelines. They watch. They maybe have a W-2. They maybe have a business even. We get a lot of people in the IT field. We get people that are business owners, entrepreneurs, and of course a lot of W-2 employees, frankly, in our Warrior program. But a lot of people just sit and they out of fear or limiting beliefs, or maybe they're comfortable, they don't take action. And I'd like you to speak to those people. What suggestions would you have for the people that know they need to do something and haven't done it yet?
So, Rod, maybe this is a little esoteric, but I know I'm a big believer in the DISC. I know you've mentioned it too. A lot of people out there use that. And I think people need to understand what their own DISC score is. Now, it's too much detail for this conversation, perhaps. But, someone like you who's a high D, high I, so am I. It's very easy for us to look at something and take action. That's easy. If, like the vast majority of the population, you're on a part of a DISC score where your personality just finds you want to have everything in place before you take a step. You want to know that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. That's okay. We need you in this space. With people with those personality traits. You have to find yourself getting hooked up with people that are going to be a little bit more willing to move forward.
Aggressive, for lack of a better word, proactive, maybe, for a better word. Yeah. And I'm really glad you said that. By the way, guys, if you want to know what your DISC score is, you can go, Anthony Robbins has a free version of the DISC personality profile. And it's actually incredibly accurate. You can pay and get a more advanced version, but he has a free that he offers. So it's kind of a no-brainer. And we get so many people in the business that are, like you said, they have to check off every box. They get caught in analysis paralysis, and yes, you need to align with people like you just described, but you also have to take that first step. Would you agree? Right. You've got to make a move. You've got to push through that fear, and do something. And that action actually mitigates the fear as well. But you got to do it. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same place 2 years from now that you are right now. And again, unless you absolutely freaking love where you are right now, please take that step is the only thing I would add to what you said.
Couldn't agree more. Just know in yourself that you might not be wired to take quick action, and then you got to fight against it.
Yeah. Do you think knowing kind of your realtor, I know you talked about Keller Williams. I'm assuming you're probably good at influence and working with other people and maybe sales, if you want to call it that. Do you think that has what has brought that skill set over into multifamily? Because I'm sure we have a lot of realtors listening.
100%. I mean, as I look to bring people into the multifamily world with me, I'd say about a third of them do come with me from the real estate space. And so that's a really easy step for them to take because they believe in real estate to the core. And multifamily is such a great way for them to up their involvement in it without taking on more property management, for instance. And then the other thing that really helps, people, realtors particularly who might be attracted to your program, is realtors also are very used to running a database. They understand that their database is their world, and they're used to tracking that and touching it. And so you automatically have people to talk to. And then I'd say lastly, and this is something I think that is really important in what we do, people who come into this multifamily world without a sales background, I think we all need to realize they don't always know some of the things we take for granted about how to help people identify their goals and then move them forward. And there's a lot of things. I actually love sales because I don't believe it's making people buy something they don't want. I think it's helping them understand what they want and then unlocking the power within them to move forward and do it. And that's something that people in sales naturally do. And I think we can all teach people who aren't naturally in sales to do some of those things. And I know I had a lot of great conversations with Warriors this weekend, and, they shared some things with me in their area of expertise, and I was more than happy to add value to them in the areas that I know.
Sure. No, and candidly, the way I look at sales is influence, your ability to influence, and you're really influencing people to make a move they know they need to make, and helping them, especially that personality profile we just talked about, helping them push through to take action, and so. And it's always a positive move. And, like I'm going to tell you, as it relates to the Warrior program, I feel like we fail anybody that doesn't join. And I believe that in my heart. And so, because of our incredible success. But let me ask you this. If you could eliminate one weakness or limitation in your life or your business, what might that be? And I know I didn't prepare you for these, so forgive me for dumping.
It's okay. And I'm just going to tell you instinctively, my answer is I don't care about my weaknesses, because I believe so wholeheartedly in leverage. Everything in my life is leverage. I'm 55 years old. I've learned how to stay in my lane. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I stink at. And where there are places that I stink, and there are many, I either have someone doing that for me, or that is on my short list of things to do. So at 40, I cared about my weaknesses. At 55, I really don't.
What a great answer. That's an awesome answer, Shannon. And guys, why that's such a great answer is this business is a team sport. And you heard me say it this last weekend. By the way, we had a Warrior event this last weekend, Shannon's referencing, just for our Warriors to meet and get together. But, they all heard me say this, and that is, don't build your weaknesses. Hire a line or partner for your weaknesses. Build on your strengths, because it's your strengths that are going to help you achieve success. And when you have like a team where everybody's playing to their strengths, first of all, they love it. Okay, they're doing what they love if they're strong in it. So that's number one. Number two, they're going to be good at it. Number three, they'll never work another day in their life, because when you do what you love, work is play. But also, they're going to be passionate about it. And it requires passion to do what we just described, which was influence people. When people feel your passion, they want to be around you, and you have a much, greater opportunity to influence in a positive way. And so, what a great answer, Shannon. That was a good one.
Well, and I love that you highlight that is why work is fun. It doesn't mean every single day is fun, but the majority of time I'm bounding out of bed because I can't wait to go work on what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hear that a lot as well. People that I talk to that will ask me questions, maybe they sit behind a computer all day and they say, well, I'm terrible at networking. Like, how am I supposed to go do that? Or vice versa. I'm really great at networking. Like, I don't understand underwriting. How am I supposed to go do that? And so it's good to hear that people are actually doing deals, that they focus so much on their strengths, to just hear it from somebody else, that that's really what you want to do.
Well, and back to Rod's point about people that have analysis paralysis. Okay, if you do stink at those, and if you're early in your game and resources are still a hardship, you might use that as a block, and you might say, oh, that's great. Rod can afford to hire whoever he wants. Shannon can afford to hire whoever she wants. But that in and of itself is a limiting belief. You don't always need to hire someone to do the things you can't do. You team up with someone. You find someone. You will it to happen, and it will.
I said hire a line or partner. I didn't just say hire. And I'm really glad you pointed that out. And, people will use any sort of excuse or rationalization to really soften how they feel about their inaction. And honestly, these are softeners, so they don't feel terrible, when they haven't taken action with something. And so I urge you, listening or watching, to flag that for yourself. If you're using a softener to mitigate, you're not doing what you want to do, you need to do for yourself and your family. By the way, on that note, if you're interested in the Warrior program, text the word crush to 72345 to apply. Okay. And we check you out. You check us out. We don't take everybody, but text the word crush to 72345 and we'll take it from there. But so on that note, how has your Warrior experience been so far, Shannon?
At the risk of sounding like I'm overselling, I'm not. It's really been life-changing in a very short period of time. And it really is because, what is it? Birds of a feather flock together. I feel so comfortable with your ecosystem, and I've met people that are able to help me partner and align with. So we have a nice big broad scope that everybody has something they're good at. I could have built that on my own, but how much longer would that have taken me, Rod, without your ecosystem? What, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. long time.
I would say likely at least that. Not that that's a bad thing, but
No.
that's really I'm gonna say this. I mean, I think we're headed into some incredible opportunity in this space, and I don't know how long lived it'll be. So getting up to speed as quickly as possible, in my opinion, is critical in whatever vehicle someone's going to use to take advantage of the opportunity that's going to present itself. Because everything's going on sale. We're already seeing it. We're seeing it in housing. I'm sure you're seeing it with your agents in the single family space, and we're starting to see it in the commercial space, and businesses are going to be going on sale, and there's just lots of opportunity. And so I think speed is super important right now. So I want to ask you
the other thing that meant a lot to me is the speed. But number one, I want to make sure that I do align myself with people who, okay, we talked about have the same ethics and integrity, but secondly, people who are willing to spend time and money to learn and grow and be at the top of their game. Those are the kind of people that are also going to be able to find the best opportunities for the people that want to invest with us, to make sure that there's checks and balances every step of the way. And you guys do a great job with that. So that's really the way that I feel I can provide the most benefit to the people that do choose to get into multifamily as investors with us.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of the opportunity, I know you mentioned that. As a funny example, I had a lender this week, and I'd never seen this before, a commercial lender, a big one, who's been blowing me up this week, emailing, calling, trying to build, like them reaching out to me, trying to build relationships because they're all getting killed right now. And that was one thing I wanted to ask you as well, Shannon, because I know you have a realtor background. You maybe have your finger on the pulse of the market better than the average person. And obviously you're closing on more deals coming up shortly. How are you feeling about the current market? Is it a challenge? Are you excited about it? Have you just adjusted your underwriting analysis? How are you feeling about what's coming?
So we all know that real estate is very local. And Rod, even you said you're sure we're seeing it in residential. We're actually not seeing it in the area where we are because inventories are still completely non-existent. Really? We still have 25 offers on every deal. So my point is
even with the interest rate doubling. Wow. That's insane. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
It's insane. There's no inventory. I speak to agents all day long that, you literally still are having 20 offers on a house. However, I think that translates into multifamily because what we learned from you is that we want to buy places where those fundamental things, our own fundamental criteria make sense. So like most people, that's landlord friendly states and areas where there's strong population growth, areas where there's diversity of employment. If we make sure and tackle the localness, and we know that the criteria are strong for where we are, I'm not going to say it's recession proof, but I think it's a buffer against a recession by keeping a very hyper local mindset. And then all the noise that's out there, you got to listen, you got to know what's going on, but you're going to steer around it to a place where you feel you have the biggest buffer. So I don't know. Is that in sync with what you're seeing?
Well, I have to dig a little deeper with you now because you've really piqued my curiosity. Are you near the city with your offices, or are you down near Philly?
No. We're about 15 miles outside of the city. And so we live on very easy commuter towns into New York City. New York City, yes, people talk about a little bit of job cuts, but the reality of it is they still can't find enough workers and they need a place to live.
Okay, interesting. You hear, that's the thing. You just don't know what to believe because, down here in Florida, we hear you guys are all moving down here, and that there's a big exodus out of the city and because of the politics and all that. And that's why I was a little surprised to hear that you're not seeing some of the, effect of that if it was really happening. So that's why I asked.
But again, hyper local, right? There are places in New Jersey that are feeling that, but there are places that aren't. New Jersey City is still very strong. Hoboken is strong. Towns like Maplewood, Summit, Short Hills, towns that have certain elements of really good schools, really easy commute into the city. Everybody still has money in those scenarios, Rod.
Gotcha. Interesting. So listen, I want to ask you, because you've done so much in such a short amount of time, talk about a setback. I don't want to call it a failure, but talk about something, a bump in the road in those 3 deals that you're working now or closed, that was insightful that you think might add value to the listeners.
I had a little mental blip when working on the 3rd deal because it just got off to a slow start. And I thought, well, what have I did? Was I a 2-hit wonder? Have I lost my edge? And it was interesting. I was at a conference and I heard a woman, her name is Molly Fletcher, speak at a pot. She was doing a keynote speech at an event I was at. She told me exactly what I needed to hear. She's actually a big sports agent. They call her the female Jerry Maguire. And she said that she was interviewing someone who'd been a caddy for Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and, all the people on the PGA. And she said, what's the difference between the people at the top of the PGA and the people at the bottom? And he said, the difference is how quickly they recover from a setback. And so I just had this period where I was grinding and nothing was happening. And that comment, that keynote speech came just at the right time. And I said to myself, okay, I can recover a little faster. I don't need to spend 3 days with my hole in the, my head in a hole. And truth be told, we're now about to close on that deal. And I honestly, I feel like $1 million about it.
Oh, you just added tremendous value to me. That's an incredible insight as to, the success, being able to recover from those setbacks. Because sometimes you just stay in that place. And no, that's a great answer. One of the things I wanted to say, Shannon, just because of the space that you're in with realtors, you've got hundreds of realtors that work with you and you're in that space so much, is if you're listening and you're a real estate agent or a broker. By the way, I was a broker when I turned 18. You could actually do it back then with education. I was a broker. I could have my own office right when I turned 18. I was smart enough to go work for a broker, and they got smart since then. You need some experience to be a broker. But, so I'm very familiar with the space. But one thing I know about the space is, if you're just buying, helping people buy and sell real estate, you're only as good as your last commission. And so I would encourage you are in the perfect catbird seat to take advantage of buying assets that provide cash flow for you and build annuities for yourself and build incredible retirement for yourself, because most brokerages don't have any sort of a retirement structure. So I want to encourage you to learn to invest in some asset class, because you're in the perfect position to do that. Would you agree with me, Shannon?
Absolutely. And in the brokerages that I run, we have an investment club, and it's not only about multifamily. We're interviewing people about their Airbnbs, their BRRRR methods, their buy and holds. We have inside information. You're nicer than me. Nice. I kind of feel like shame on you if you're not taking advantage of it. There's a way to get it done. Agreed completely.
So I see a wedding ring. Do you have a family? Do you have kids? Tell me a little bit personally, just because there's a reason I'm asking.
Yeah. I am married to a fabulous guy. His name is David Silverstrom. He's a dentist. And one of the things that's fabulous about his life and mine is that we're both addicted to entrepreneurialism. He has a very big dental practice with his son. One of my sons is in business with me here in Multifamily. And so we just are completely in sync about building things and having a good time. And, we have abundant mindsets. We love to say, you can want what you want just because you want it. So we have 5 kids between us, and we're really kind of having a good time.
Well, that's why I asked, because we get a lot of people that are like, how the heck am I going to be able to do this on the side? So not only do you run a significant business, your husband runs a significant business, you've got 5 kids. Speak to the people that struggle with feeling like they don't have enough time to do this on the side.
Well, I feel that way a lot of days, Rod.
Right. Okay.
But what's that expression? You overestimate what you can do in a short time, but you underestimate what you can do in a long time. And now that I've been doing this for a while, and I look back, I say, all right, I've done a lot. My life has actually exceeded my every expectation in every category, because I've just picked a bullseye and you move forward by it. And yes, every day I worked from 8 a.m. yesterday till 10 o'clock last night. I'm exhausted. I don't mind. And I don't work that way every day. But when you're passionate about your vision, it's easy. It's fun. And so I'd say, if you feel like you don't have time, could you maybe step back and ask yourself, if you're really clear about your vision, or I love the term, your big why are you doing it? Because if you're doing it for something that means something to you, you just find a way to get it done.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, if you haven't been to one of my boot camps, first thing we do is goal setting, but you don't have to attend to enjoy that. I did it. I do it every year around the first of the year. I did it on January 2nd this year, and it's on my link tree, which is rodslinks.com. So again, rods plural, links plural.com, rodslinks.com. It's at the bottom. It's my goal setting workshop with music, with a guide you can download. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. Have your spouse do it. Have your kids, if they're over 10 years old, do it. People spend more time planning a freaking Christmas party than they do designing their lives. This is designing your life. And especially if you're on the fence about what you want to do with your life, get clear on what you want, why you want it, and that will be the burning desire fuel that you need to go actually take action, to push through fear, to push through the limiting beliefs, to get uncomfortable, to make it happen. Shannon, you are a treat, and I can't wait to have you back on the show in a year just to see just how much you've quadrupled what you've done already. But it's been a real joy to have you on. I appreciate you, and it's great to see you again so quickly.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you pour into us in your program.
Thank you. So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. They're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. And maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, incredible cash flow, and they think, well, it's just scary. Buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. But see, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students, and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years, and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships, really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now, again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.